Hello, and welcome to the Rooted Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Porter, and today with me, I have a special guest. He's our young adults leader here at Fairview Church. It's Jake Schrader. Jake, would you mind introducing yourself?
I'm Jake Schrader. I'm the young adult leader here at Fairview Church. Me and my wife, Madison. We've been doing this ministry about 2 years now. We've got a 5-year-old daughter, Ansley, and we've got a little boy due in August. We're excited with what the Lord's doing in our ministry, and we pray that we can just keep walking in His glory.
So I know I normally go straight into the icebreaker, but with you making that comment, I'm going to stray just a little bit for just a second, not to throw you off. But I want to talk a little bit about the young adults class right quick. This young adults class, right now, we're studying Revelation with Pastor Jaron.
Yes.
And that's been a major outpouring. I feel like we've had great success in that. Like we've had a lot of people really get on board with it.
I really believe we have. We had me and Madison were praying about it when they mentioned the Revelation study, and Pastor Jaron was the first one that came to our mind. And when we asked him, it was no hesitation. He said, "Yes, I'll do it." And the Lord has revealed so much to us through this study so far,
Right.
and our group just keeps growing.
Yeah, that's my thing. So what? Right now we're averaging somewhere between 15 and 20 people a Wednesday.
Every
Right?
Wednesday night.
Yeah, see, that's awesome. That's great to see so many people between that age group. What, it's 18 to 35,
18 to 35.
and having that many people, especially in a small area like what we have, coming together and just growing and hungry for it.
I feel like we could get everybody here, not at work. I mean, I think we could have close to 40 if everybody was here in our group.
That would be awesome. But I guess I'll jump into that icebreaker question now. Just wanted to throw that out there. Like Jake and Maddie do a great job. We'll do our whole outro like we always do. But if you don't have a place to be on Wednesday nights, you're not already got a home church, and you're especially if you're between the ages of 18 and 35, come join us. We'd love to have you, and I promise you show up, you'll get loved on.
Yes,
So.
we will.
So the icebreaker question, Mr. Jake, is if you could travel anywhere in the world right now, where would it be?
But that'd be Israel. Me
Okay.
and Madison have talked about going there, and just we've gotten so much deeper in our walk with Christ that we would just love to go explore that area to where everything from the Bible was written. Just to go walk that, go see the River Jordan.
That would be awesome, man. So is the River Jordan, like if there was one place in Israel that was like bucket list, I've got to make it to this particular location, would that be it?
That would probably be my number one spot to go to.
That's awesome. There's so much biblical and just history in general that surrounds that location. I'm with you. I mean, that's a pretty cool spot.
And just to step there and just to take a deep breath, take it all in.
Right.
It would just be amazing, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I agree. And now that we're a little warmed up, we got to get into the meat of this thing. So today, me and Jake both have worked on opposite sides of it, but we've worked in the electrical field. And I don't want to talk bad about anybody, and I don't want anything to come out as far as like that we're pointing fingers or anything. This is in every industry, but I know in some of the places that he's worked, because they were customers of mine. I was on the sales side of it. It's hard sometimes being a Christian in a harsh environment.
Most definitely. You never know what you're going to hear, what you're going to face day in and day out.
So, in your experience, how like as far as working in that environment, is there anything that you've done just kind of like as a Christian in your day in, day out stuff, like something that you lean on to stay grounded, to not like fall by the wayside?
You've got to stay on the word day in, day out. Psalms 119, 105 says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light into my path." You have to do that daily. You have to get on the word, prayer, stay in prayer.
Right. No, and that right there, um, what does Pastor Stewart call her? Reverend Whitney Clayton. So that's something that, again, I know I'm reverting back to the young adults thing, but that's something that I've picked up through her. I feel like is she always has made a point, as long as we've been coming here and a part of the young adults, that be more intentional with your prayer, even if it's just stopping for a second in the middle of the day and saying, "Hey God, I'm struggling right now. Will you watch out for this, or watch out for this, or be with me?" Just anything, just a "Hey God" moment, And that's I feel like over the last 6 to 7 months of me being more intentional, my life has become easier to get through those situations when you're dealing with someone who, we can talk about what all they do or don't do. But like one of the things for me that I struggle with hearing all the time is, they talk about what you feed your mind is what you'll spit out. And I hear people just with horrible profanity and stuff all day long.
In the trade field, that is all day. I mean, you hear that more than not. And I mean, words are tied together that you would never put together. And I've been on both sides of the spectrum as far as working in a hard environment and then working in an environment where it's easy, where you're surrounded by Christians day in, day out.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get drugged down. I mean, if you let your guard down for 1 second, you can get drugged right in to that same mindset that they're in. You can get down on yourself, all negativity. You bring that home to your household,
Yeah.
and it just goes downhill.
And I'm sure you've probably been in a similar scenario, but there was a point in mine and Logan's life where it's not that we weren't believers, but we kind of got out of church, kind of stepped away a little bit. And although I never fully like went into that side of it, just awful profanity, anything like that, I found it easier to tell lewd jokes, things that were slightly inappropriate, and then as anybody that's listened to the last few episodes, Pastor Stewart often talks about the hammer and the chisel. The closer you get to God, the more of that stuff gets knocked away. And I feel like in my experience, a lot of that has really come to light. Like I've had that microscope on me, this has got to go.
Just like we talk about on Wednesday nights, when your eyes are on the Lord and you're wholly focused on Him, you're wanting to draw closer to Him. Your body has no choice but to follow that.
Right.
Man, when you're looking straight ahead at Him, you're wanting more of Him, you're desiring more of Him. Everybody around you is going to see that. Just like Moses when he came down off the mount, they could tell that he had been in the presence of the Lord.
Yep. Yeah.
And that should be us daily.
Yep.
People should be able to look at us and know, hey, they've been in the Lord's presence. They know something's different about them, and that should make them intrigued, wanting what we have.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree. So you brought up the other side of this. Like we've both worked in that harsh environment where it's tough, but there are some jobs and some environments where it's not so hard because you do have those Christian men walking along with you. And, back on episode, I think it was 4, we talked about not following man, but that it's important to have Christian men in our case, or Christian women, that you can walk alongside that will, not, not that you become a disciple of them, but that they also are walking toward the same goal, the same God, the same Jesus, same Holy Spirit that we are, and that we can step in line with them and learn from them. So that, in that sense, is there any, you don't have to name names or anything, but is there any specific people that have really stood out to you in your work life that have pushed you in that way?
I mean, not necessarily just my work life, but my everyday life. You've got
Right.
people that you look up to that you're like, man, I want more of what they've got. I wish I want to be more like them in their everyday walk with
Mhm.
Christ. And you just got to surround yourself, put yourself in a community with godly people.
Yep.
And the more you do that, the more you're going to rub off on one another. And like we were talking Wednesday night, you're having a bad day. You've got a group of guys, somebody's going to send you a text and you've not even talked to them, but hey, they're going to check in on you because they're that in tune. You're that in tune with one another in the will of the Lord that He's going to drop them in your spirit and you're going to reach out to them and check on them in that day.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, so I know everybody here don't necessarily know about this, but I've been going through some work changes and situations. Obviously, you and Alex and some of the other guys know what's going on. And through this, there's been a couple of days where I've felt like the devil or whatever you want to say was just like really on me that day. Like I really had some bad days, and it's nothing for me to get a text from you or from Alex or somebody just saying, "Hey, man, thinking of you." You know what I mean? And that's that, like you were saying, being in tune with each other on a more spiritual level, I feel like that really opens up the doors for us to have contact and to have that relationship and having that comfort outside of just what we see every day in the work life.
And that helps you stay grounded in your everyday life, not just your work life.
Yeah.
And knowing that, hey, if I need something, I can send these guys a message or send our group a message and they're going to drop whatever they're doing and they're going to start praying for me.
Yeah.
And to know that you've got that on your side, it's a weight off your back. It's a sigh of relief.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I love the way that you and Maddie have went and put the young adults into like a into a group message chat to where it doesn't matter your age in the young adults. It doesn't matter your gender. You post a prayer request in there, and it's crazy. Like you'll see 20 emojis just like say, "Hey, I'm praying," or something just like praying hands, just something like that people are listening.
And you don't have to worry like when somebody says, I'm praying for that, they're not just sending that and not praying.
Yeah.
They're stopping right then and they're praying. It might be one of the short prayers we were talking about a minute ago, but the Lord knows the heart.
Yeah, and I know you've talked about it quite a bit on Wednesday nights that it's being in constant prayer. It's not necessarily one of those things that every second of every day. Actually, Hannah even brought it up during Wednesday night that it's not necessarily every second of every day, but you catch yourself not even realizing that you're doing it, but you're saying a prayer of some sort just to kind of help get your feet planted back where they need to be in that moment.
Yeah, I've noticed myself doing that, like stressful moments at work, just a quick Lord, and just give me a peace in this situation. Help me through this situation. You know what's going on. Just let me do the right thing here.
Yeah.
And those quick, what seem like minute prayers to us, that gets us through the rest of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes a huge difference. So I know we kind of dove into this a little bit, but I know that you had also got some notes that you'd put together as far as like, so obviously podcast name's Rooted for Generations to Come. That's what we're all about, is trying to build that firm foundation and dive deep into the word to find our roots and get them deep and dug in so we can't get knocked over, and that staying grounded. So in your notes that you've taken and stuff and studied about it, do you have anything you want to say or put out there about how to stay grounded?
My thing is create spiritual reminders. One thing when I do when I first get in the truck, I've either got worship music, podcast, something uplifting that's going to get me through the day. And if I don't start that, if I don't start my day with prayer and then get in my truck and I don't have my worship music on, I can tell throughout the day that it's a struggle.
Yeah.
It's a completely different day, whether if you start it that way or you don't.
Right.
And so I've just started doing those little spiritual reminders just throughout the day. Hey, God's got this. Whether it's a Bible verse sitting on your desk that when you walk in the office, you see it, it puts a smile on your face. Just
Yeah.
little things like that help keep you grounded throughout the day. But that Christian community is what I've got to keep going back to.
Yep.
You've got to surround yourself with people that are going to lift you up, that are going to pray for you. That if you're the most Christian person in your group, you
Yeah.
need to take a step back.
Yeah.
And coming from a young adult leader, I know that sounds crazy, but we've got people in our group that we constantly look up to.
Yep.
And you mentioned Whitney a minute ago. She is so in depth in her word, in her study. Whatever she does, she goes all in.
Yeah. Yeah. And no, and I hope he doesn't take offense to me bringing him up in this, but that's like Alex, to see where, and he'll even say it, and I'm not going to give his testimony on here. That's for him to give. But the Alex I knew in high school to the Alex I know now is a completely different person. And that dude, when he breaks open his Bible, I know that I've said it on a podcast before, but it looks like a highlighter factory exploded inside of that thing. And he is in the word, and he sees things that I would have never saw. Like God has opened his eyes to reading the word and interpreting it in a way that I hope to have. But like he's come so far. And that's one of those people, like you're talking about in our group. Like we've got a community of just awesome, godly people that stay connected.
And then Pastor Jaron leading this Revelation study, I think everybody in our group looks up to him.
Yeah, he is a great mentor.
He is. And I'm lucky enough to call him a friend, a mentor. He has kind of taken me and Maddie under our wing as as Pastor and Lindsay have as well. But I know I can message either one of them if I need something, and they're going to reach right back out.
And that's the thing. And I'll say this, not just in the young adults group, but in Fairview in general, there is a sense of outreach. There is, when you walk through the doors, it does not take long. I think me and Logan were here. Now, of course, we had yours and Maddie's number and some of our other friends that were already attending before we got here, but it took like 3 Sundays and we had like a multitude of people's phone numbers. Like they want you. It's not a harassment thing. It's a, we're here for you and we want you to call us, text us, message us, whatever. If you need something, or if, you're having a rough day and you need a word of encouragement, just let us know.
That's exactly right. I told Maddie earlier, I said, if you want a church that loves on you, Fairview is the place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
Because they're
awesome.
going to meet you with open arms. You're going to get hugged as soon as you walk through that door.
Yeah.
You're going to be welcomed by smiling faces.
Yeah.
And it's just a loving place.
Yeah. No, and it's funny because Mr. Lowe, he's almost always out the door. And when I come through the door, it's, hey, buddy, give me the Christian side hug, just, and I'm like, hey, man, I can't wait to get here and see him in the morning, because he gives you that feeling of you're important
Yeah.
and we're glad you're here, and I feel like that's the whole point. I mean, that's who we're supposed to be as Christians, is when, especially for new Christians, when they step into this, because there's a lot of people who are coming in, especially in this young adults class and stuff, that have either been a part of or are in that harsh environment at work and whatnot. And we're giving them a place, like a safe place they can come in, be surrounded by godly people and feel important.
Yeah, I know we just mentioned Alex a minute ago. He said Wednesday night. He looks forward to Wednesdays. He looks forward to Sunday mornings. We've all got to be that way. We've got to look forward to gathering together, digging into the Lord's word. And like you said just a minute ago, he gets something completely different than I do when he reads it. And that's why I love how we discuss and we're throwing ideas off each other. What the Lord's speaking to us is different for each and every one of us, but it applies the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I've read the Bible verses talking about, like, at the beginning of John, where it talks about the word was God and the word was with God. But I never put those two together, like the whole A to Z thing. And I know I mentioned it Wednesday night, but until Jaron said that, like Alpha and Omega in our English language is A to Z, and that's, he encapsulates all word.
And it just clicks.
Yeah. And it's like,
It's crazy. You can read the same scripture over and over. And that just shows you it's a living word. Every time you read it, you get something different from it.
It is. It is. And it's amazing. And I think you already touched on this, but like getting in the word, whether it be, and I know for some people, especially who have kids and stuff, sometimes finding that set moment in a day to sit down and read may be difficult. But at the very least, in my opinion, turn on the Bible as an audio book while you're going down the road. And like you mentioned, worship music, like feed your soul, whatever that looks like for you at this point in life. Like for me, I do read, but a lot of times my 45 minute drive into work, I'll have, actually, Becca mentioned that Streetlights Bible, right? It's kind of got like music and stuff behind it, and it just makes it a little, I hate to say it this way, easier to listen to, and I'll turn that on, and that's my 45-minute drive in. And I get, that way I get the word. And I can tell a huge difference, like you said, if I start my morning out like that versus turning on something else, or just being in conversation with that doesn't reflect God, then the rest of my day feels like it's offbeat.
And I mean, it's not saying that you're going to have those days that when you do that, it's still going to be a rough day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just how the world is. And it was never said it was going to be easy.
No, no.
And there's days that it feels like the world's coming down all around you. But just to have faith that we've got a Savior that loves us and He's on our side,
Yeah.
that should be enough to get us through that day.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like too many times we tell young Christians, baby Christians, whatever you want to call it, like, hey, love, 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 rainbows, butterflies. And then they're like, man, this is tough. I've been through, like, that first week after getting saved. A lot of times the devil's going to like knock you around a little bit. The things that you used to love to do aren't going to feel or taste as good. And you're going to be like, man, this is tough. This is not easy, and having that community to lean on, and it's actually funny. She's kind of behind the camera over here at the moment, but Logan actually mentioned to me going down the road. I guess it was yesterday. She was playing some music and she switched over to a song that we both used to listen to quite a bit. And it was a secular song. And she goes, does it just leave a bad taste in your mouth when you hear this now? And I'm like, Yeah, it does. It's there's certain songs that when I hear them, I'm just like,
Why not?
well, that was rough, you know. But that's I feel like you've really hit on it. But what you feed your mind is also going to feed your soul, and that's what we're going to pour out. So um, if we're in that harsh work environment or whatever, and all we're hearing is profanity and people talking bad about each other and gossiping and stuff all day long, and we don't put anything else in, that's what's going to eventually come out of us.
That's Romans 12. It says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind daily." And if you're not being mindful and guarding your mind and your heart daily, those little things are going to sneak in. I mean, that's the enemy's job. He's going to try just throwing little bitty things in, and you give him an inch, he's going to take a foot. You give him a foot, he's going to take a yard. You give him a yard, he's going to take a mile.
Yep.
And it runs downhill quick.
Yep.
And that's why you've got to stay guarded. You've got to keep your guards up. You've got to guard what goes in and out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like it can start out as it's just one word. No big deal.
Joke.
Just one joke. It's just one sip, whatever that looks like, whatever vice.
I mean, fill in the blank for you, whatever you're going through at that time.
Yeah. Whatever vice that captures your mind, he's going to figure it out.
He knows.
And that's going to be the thing that he pushes the hardest. But, greater is he that is in you than he is in the world. So, we've got the overcomer. We don't have to fight that battle. Yeah, we don't have to fight that battle. It's already won. So, just a matter of meeting him where, he'll meet you where you're at, but you've also got to
take a step.
You got to take a step.
Work.
Yep. Yeah, there's a halfway point, and he'll meet you there and he'll clean it up for you. But you've got to be willing to take that step. So, you got anything else you want to throw in here?
There's one more that's really going to kind of jump out, I think, at people is serving others.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. All right.
Helps you stay rooted. And people are going to say, how's that? We do a tailgate every year. And that is one of the events I look forward to at this church every year when we do it. I mean, this is going to be year 4, I believe we've done this now. And you look at our community of serving. We started the first year with like 12 people. Second year, we were up to 30. And I think this past year, there was right at 50 people in the picture.
Yeah.
And when you serve others and you're showing the love of Christ by handing out a barbecue plate that might be a sandwich and a bag of chips, but you're saying, hey, Jesus loves you.
Yep.
And we do too.
It's funny you say that. That's actually one of the things that, and it was last year before we ever started coming here, but it was it was last year. Anyways, I was walking through the parking lot and we had actually just got through eating, and Emily Holman comes running up. She's like, Patrick. I'm like, what? She's like, grab a plate. And I'm like, I just ate. She's like, I don't care. Grab a plate. It's free. Just grab it. Let's go. But it was just one of those things. Like, she's got that attitude, like, I'm here to serve. I'm happy about it. And then you see a whole group like that. And again, like I don't want to just be like promote, but like, then you see that Fairview behind them. And like, that's the culture that's here, that we want to serve. But I think that if more people got into that mindset of being a servant, then it would be easier to break into those hard places, those harsh places, the places that that's kind of dark.
And when you're serving like that, you're planting seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, you got to trust God with the outcome. We're doing the work. We're planting the seeds. He's going to water it. He's going to keep planting just a little more. They're going to be a little more curious. And I've got trust God with the outcome, surrender daily, hand over your work, your co-workers, and the outcomes to God. Know your calling. Remember, your identity and value come from Christ, not your title or your performance.
Yep, that's awesome. And and you said a word in there that a lot of people find hard. I find it hard, and that's that surrender portion. That's the hard part for me. But once you do,
it's a weight is gone.
Oh yeah, it's like the burdens are gone. It's so much easier.
When I first felt like I was being called to ministry, I struggled with it. I ran hard, and I was asking questions to other people. And there was a guy looked at me. He said, "Try running from it." And I said, "I am." He said, "Can you get away from it?" And I said, "I cannot." He said, "That shows you it's your real calling."
Yeah.
He said, if you run and you can't outrun it, he said, that's the Lord not letting go of you.
Yep.
And when you finally surrender and you pray and you know that that's the will of God on your life,
Yep.
it's a weight is lifted off your shoulders and it feels like nothing else.
It is. And it's funny you say that because, and I don't know what those ministries are going to look like for all of us, but my story is very similar. And then Josh's is very similar. Every time I talk to him, he's like, oh man, I tried running from it, but I can't, so like that's, I think that's part of the struggle. I mean, I think we all have that spirit of Jonah a little bit and we're going to run from it. But once it finally takes hold and we know that our lives will become simpler, and I don't want to say simpler, that sounds bad, but like, you know what I'm getting at. It becomes simpler to just follow than to run. Like the tools that you need will be presented. They'll be provided.
Most definitely. And then you get a kind of a boldness that comes about you when you start digging in the word and the Lord starts revealing more stuff to you. It's almost like a boldness. Like hey, I can do this.
Yep.
Well, the Lord's with me. I can do this no matter what.
Yeah.
And there's weeks that it's hard and it's still a struggle. But at the end of the day, he's got the outcome and it's going to be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's I know you've mentioned this in the young adults class. I've heard Pastor talk about having this happen to him with messages. And I mean, it's happened here on the podcast where, like, all week, this is what we're talking about. This is it. And then day of or day before, it's like, nope, change of plans. This is what's happening. This is what we're talking
And your
about.
whole lesson or whatever changes the night before or the day of.
Yep.
It's a struggle, but you've got to be obedient to the Lord.
Yep. And those tools show up every time. All the tools you need, they're provided to make that happen. So any last thoughts?
I've kind of got a challenge I want to throw at our listeners.
Okay.
And it's just pray every day this week. Lord, how can I be a light to somebody else?
Okay. I like that.
And that's going to help you stay grounded.
Yeah.
It's going to potentially give you the opportunity to witness to somebody else in your everyday walk. Because every day we come in contact with people that don't know the word of Christ. We might be the only church or only Bible that they read.
Yep.
And if we are walking and showing the love of him and a walking testimony of him,
yep,
we're planting seeds everywhere we go.
And this is not a me trying to put a pin in my hat or whatnot, but you saying that, just to give an example, this week, I was praying about something and it was one of those things where, there were some people in the room next door, but, I stopped for a second and, just closed my eyes and prayed. And one of the guys walked in and he goes, "Hey, Patrick, whatever you're thinking about, let it go. Like, you look like you're hurting over there." And I stopped and I was like, "Hey, sorry. I was praying." He's like, "Well, what were you praying about?" And I got a chance to talk about it with him. You know what I mean? And then that was one of those, like you're talking about, a chance to plant a seed, because I didn't know that he was going to see me do that, but it opened up the opportunity for him to ask that question. And then I got to talk to him about it. And then that turned into a 30-minute conversation, So it's just those little things.
And if you're walking past somebody, and I've mentioned it before in our Wednesday or Sunday mornings, if you ask them, how are you today? And they respond with, my world's falling apart. Are you going to be prayed up and ready at that time?
Yeah.
Or are you going to say, oh, well, I was really just wanting to know how you are, just kind of checking.
Yeah.
But you've got to be intentional when you ask that. You've got to be ready to go if the Lord puts somebody in your path.
You know what? It's funny you say that. And I love these shirts. I'd love for the young adults to get them, but I'm sure you see them that says, "Need prayer? Tap me on the shoulder." Like that's a boldness to be able to walk out with that.
I mean, that's the boldness of Paul right there. I
Yeah.
mean, no matter what the outcome, I'm here. Let's go.
Let's do this thing. But, that's it's just awesome. But that being said, I second Jake's challenge. Pray every day this week. Let's see what the Lord can do for you and for the situations you run into this week. So we love you. Fairview is the place to be. If you don't have a home church, we would love to have you. We have Wednesday night services at 6:30. 6:30 Central. Sunday mornings, Sunday school at 9 and service at 10, both Central. We'd love to have you. I mean, we'll meet you at the door. You just come find us. We'd love to have a conversation with you. A lot of times you can find either Jake or Pastor or, for that matter, even me walking around Jaron as well, walking around after service, come talk to one of us. I mean, we'd love to see you, love to have a conversation. And we can get you in contact with people if there's a certain avenue of ministry you want to talk about or are interested in. We can help you with that.
Patrick said earlier, if you're a young adult between the ages of 18 and 35, and you're looking to get plugged in somewhere with a group of people that are going to love on you and it's going to push you to grow deeper in your walk with Christ, we would love to have you join us.
Yeah. And not to scare you, but this has not been one of those groups where you glance over stuff. When I say it's a deep dive, it is a deep dive. I mean, there's weeks we don't make it out of a chapter.
I mean, we're one chapter and 3 verses in right now.
Yeah, something like that.
And we're 4 weeks into this study.
Yeah. I mean, and that sounds tedious and time consuming, and it is, but there's a reason why we dig that deep, because there are things that need to be said, need to be brought up, and need to be seen that you're not going to get glancing over. Like a glazed over version is not gonna work. We need to see what God has planned for us and what He's put into motion for us, and the only way to do that is to pray and to get in the Word. So that being said, we love all y'all. You can check us out on Facebook, Fairview's Facebook page, Fairview Church of God on YouTube. We also have Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, and Pocket Cast. So, I mean, just about anywhere you can find a podcast, we're on there. Check out Rooted. We love you. We thank you for listening. See y'all later.